David Andrew Leo Fincher is an American film director, film producer, and music video director. He was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Director for his 2008 film The Curious Case of Benjamin Button and his 2010 film The Social Network. For The Social Network, he won the Golden Globe Award for Best Director and the BAFTA Award for Best Direction. His most recent film is 2011's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, an English-language adaptation of Stieg Larsson's novel of the same name. Early life: Fincher was born on August 28, 1962 in Denver, Colorado, the son of Claire May, a mental health nurse who worked in drug addiction programs, and Howard Kelly Fincher, who was an author and worked as a bureau chief for life. Howard died of cancer in April 2003. When Fincher was 2 years old, the family moved to San Anselmo, California. Fincher moved to Ashland, Oregon in his teens, where he graduated from Ashland High School. Inspired by Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Fincher began making movies at age 8 with an 8mm camera. He attended the Berkeley Film Institute. Early career: Fincher was employed at Corti Films where he worked on the animated Twice Upon a Time. He was later hired by Industrial Light and Magic in 1983, where he worked on productions for Return of the Jedi, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. In 1984, he left ILM to direct a commercial for the American Cancer Society, that would show a fetus smoking a cigarette. This quickly brought Fincher to the attention of producers in Los Angeles and he was given the chance to direct the documentary The Beat of the Live Drum featuring Rick Springfield in 1985. Though he would continue to direct spots for companies like Revlon, Converse, Nike, Pepsi, Sony, and Levi's, Fincher soon discovered music videos and went on to direct many promos. Propaganda films: set on a directing career, Fincher joined video production company Propaganda Films and started off directing music videos and commercials. Like Fincher, directors such as Michael Bay, Spike Jonze, Mark Romanek, Michel Gondry, Paul Rejman, Zack Snyder, Gore Verbinski, Alex Proyas, Antoine Fuqua and others honed their talents at Propaganda Films before moving on to feature films. Influence: in an interview with Empire magazine in 2008, Fincher named the following films as his favorite: Alien, All That Jazz, All the President's Men, American Graffiti, Being There, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Cabaret, Chinatown, Citizen Kane, Days of Heaven, Dr. Strangelove, 8 1/2, The Exorcist, The Godfather Part 2, The Graduate, Jaws, Lawrence of Arabia, Mad Max 2, Monty Python and the Holy Grail, National Lampoon's Animal House, Paper Moon, Rear Window, Taxi Driver, The Terminator, The Year of Living Dangerously, and Zelig. Feature films and television: after directing several music videos, Fincher's feature debut was Alien 3. While it received an Oscar nomination for special effects, the film was not well received by critics or moviegoers. Fincher became involved with several disputes with 20th Century Fox over script and budget issues. Director's cut: picturing Hollywood in the 21st century, he blames the producers for not putting the necessary trust in him. He stated in an interview with The Guardian in 2009, "No one hated it more than me. To this day, no one hates it more than me." After this, he retreated back into the world of commercial and music video directing, including the video for the Grammy Award-winning track Love Is Strong by the Rolling Stones. In 1995, Fincher directed Seven. The film, based on a screenplay by Andrew Kevin Walker, told the story of two detectives tracking down a serial killer who bases his killings on the 7 deadly sins. The film grossed more than $100 million domestically. The chairman of New Line Cinema, Arnold Kopelson, originally refused to allow filming of the shocking climatic scene. With the aid of Brad Pitt, who stated that he would not be involved with the picture if its ending were changed, Fincher was allowed to film the original scene and use it in the final cut. After the success of Seven, Fincher went on to film The Game. The story focused on a closed-off San Francisco businessman who receives an unusual gift from his younger brother, in which he becomes the main player of a role-playing game that takes over his life. The film had middling box office returns despite being well received by critics. Fight Club was a screen adaptation of Chuck Palahniuk's novel of the same name about an insomniac office worker who opens up a club devoted exclusively to bare-knuckle fighting for men. Featuring Edward Norton, Helena Bonham Carter, and Seven collaborator Brad Pitt, the 1999 film was an early disappointment at the box office and received mixed reviews. Fight Club was panned by several critics and alienated audiences, leading to its box office failure in the United States. However, many critics and audiences later changed their opinions and the film appeared on many Best of the Year lists and soon developed a cult following. Entertainment Weekly, which had originally given the film a D, later ranked the DVD number 1 on its list of 50 essential DVDs. Exceptional sales have since established it as a cult film. In 2006, the British magazine Total Film voted Fight Club number 4 in the 100 greatest movies of all time, beaten only by Jaws, Vertigo and Goodfellas at 3, 2 and 1 respectively. In 2002, Fincher followed up with the thriller Panic Room. The film earned over $92 million at the U.S. box office. The story follows a single mother and her daughter as they hide in a safe room of their new house, away from criminals bent on finding a missing fortune. Fincher acknowledged Panic Room as a more mainstream thriller, describing the film, on the DVD's audio commentary, as, basically a date movie, and a really good B-movie about two people trapped in a closet. 5 years after Panic Room, Fincher returned on March 2, 2007 with Zodiac, an adaptation of Robert Graysmith's books about the hunt for the Zodiac killer that starred Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, Robert Downey, Jr., Anthony Edwards, and Brian Cox. The first of Fincher's films to be shot digitally, the majority of the film was recorded on a Thomson Viper film stream camera. However, high-speed film cameras were used for the Blue Rock Springs and Presidio Heights murder scenes for the slow-motion shots. It was originally to be released in the fall of 2006 but was pushed back after Fincher refused to cut 20 minutes off the film. Zodiac was one of the best-reviewed films of that year, with only 2 other 2007 films appearing on more top 10 lists. However, the film struggled at the box office in the U.S., earning only $33 million, but did well overseas with a foreign gross of $51.7 million. Worldwide, Zodiac was a decent success. Despite an aggressive campaign by the studio, expectations surrounding Robert Downey, Jr.'s supporting performance, Fincher's direction and Vanderbilt's adapted script, the film did not earn a single Academy Award nomination. A Story About Life and Death, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button is an adaptation of F. Scott Fitzgerald unregistered trademark S. short story of the same name. The film was Fincher's third with Brad Pitt. The film started shooting in November 2006 in New Orleans, before moving on to the Virgin Islands, Montreal, and L.A. Both Zodiac and this film are co-productions of Paramount Pictures and Warner Brothers. The budget for the film was estimated at $150 million, partly due to the CGI effects used to reverse the aging in Pitt's character. The film is the first PG-13 film directed by Fincher. It received 13 nominations at the 81st Academy Awards, including Fincher's first nomination for Best Director. It won 3 Academy Awards for Best Art Direction, Best Makeup, and Best Visual Effects. Fincher directed the 2010 film The Social Network, about the legal battles of Mark Zuckerberg and the founding of Facebook. The film features an Oscar-winning screenplay by Aaron Sorkin, adapted from the book The Accidental Billionaires. Featuring a young cast ensemble, the film was produced by Scott Rudin, Kevin Spacey and Michael DeLuca. Filming started in October 2009 and was released a year later, to critical acclaim. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross created the Oscar-winning soundtrack for the film. Fincher had long been a fan of Reznor's work in Nine Inch Nails, even putting a remix of Closer in the beginning of Seven and directing the music video for Only. The film went on to win many awards, including 4 Golden Globes, 3 BAFTAs, and 3 Academy Awards for Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Original Score, and Best Film Editing. Fincher directed the American version of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which was based on the book by Stieg Larsson, with a script written by Stefan Zalian. The film was shot in Sweden, with Rooney Mara as Lisbeth Salander, Daniel Craig as Michael Blomqvist, Robin Wright as Erika Berger, Stellan Skarsgård as Martin Vanger and Christopher Plummer as Henrik Vanger. The film was released on December 21, 2011. Dragon Tattoo writer Steve Zalian is in the early stage of scripting The Girl Who Played with Fire, which Fincher has the option to direct. While he is not yet committed to the project, the Oscar-nominated filmmaker has admitted that he would prefer to shoot both the second and third Millennium book adaptations back-to-back, for both practical and artistic purposes. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross composed the soundtrack for the film. It received 5 Academy Award nominations at the 84th Academy Awards, including Best Actress for Rooney Mara, Best Cinematography, Best Sound Mixing, and won 1 award for Best Film Editing. Fincher is executive producer of the Netflix television series House of Cards. He also directed the first 2 episodes. The series has received critical acclaim, receiving 9 Primetime Emmy nominations, including Outstanding Drama Series and Fincher for Outstanding Directing for a Drama Series for the first episode, which he won. On January 22, 2013, Fincher was reported to be in talks to direct the adaptation of the Gillian Flynn novel Gone Girl, a report that was later confirmed on July 11 of the same year with the casting of Ben Affleck in the lead role. Production began in September 2013. It was later given a release date of October 3, 2014. Filmography, films, music videos. As a music video director, Fincher has won 2 Grammy Awards for Best Music Video, for his work in Love Is Strong by the Rolling Stones and Suit and Tie by Justin Timberlake and Jay-Z, and 3 MTV Video Music Awards for Best Direction, being one of the most awarded directors in the category, alongside Spike Jonze. His video for Don Henley's The End of the Innocents won Henley the MTV Video Music Award for Best Male Video in 1990. He also earned back-to-back MTV Video Music Awards for Best Direction in 1989 for Express Yourself, and in 1990 for Vogue. In 1990, he earned 3 of the 4 available nominations in the Best Direction category. Video games, Halo 4 scan launch trailer, reception, critical reception, box office, references. Further reading, Waxman, Sharon, ed. Rebels on the Backlot, 6 Maverick Directors and How They Conquered the Hollywood Studio System. Harper Entertainment. External links, David Fincher at the Internet Movie Database, David Fincher at AllMovie, David Fincher at Rotten Tomatoes, David Fincher at MTBIS.com, Censors of Cinema, Great Directors Critical Database, Interviews, David Fincher interview with Paul Guyot of www.talk.com, David Fincher interview with Gavin Smith of edward-norton.org, Esquire magazine interview with Fincher, Indie London interview with Fincher, David Fincher didn't want to make another serial killer movie. Until Zodiac came along. A Part 1 interview with MTV, David Fincher discusses reunion with Brad Pitt, possible Fight Club musical. A Part 2 interview with MTV, CHUD, exclusive interview, David Fincher, LA Weekly. David Fincher discusses Zodiac's rising star.